Hey everyone, today's video I'm going to talk about the work function and how Einstein managed to resolve all of these four very strange observations from the photoelectric effect. So if you just need a refresher on the photoelectric effect, please watch my previous video, quantum physics number 2. And anyways, there were four conclusions that had to be resolved, right? Firstly, scientists were confused on why the intensity of light did not affect the kinetic energy of the electrons. Secondly, they were, I actually have the notes here. Secondly, they were wondering why the kinetic energy of electrons depended on the frequency of incident light. And also, below a certain minimum frequency, which is called the threshold frequency, no electron was ejected, no matter how much the scientists increased the intensity of light by, which was very, which did not agree with what classical mechanics states. And fourthly, electrons were emitted with no time delay, even at low intensities. Usually, physicists initially thought that there would be a time delay, as electrons would have to accumulate the energy transferred from the light waves to the electron, and they would just like sit and absorb this energy until bam, it was they had gathered enough energy to be ejected. So to resolve all of these four conclusions, Einstein proposed that a photon is actually made of particles, and that E equal hf, which is an equation that we discussed initially in our first video. And this resolves some of the conclusions that were made. First of all, because now we state that the energy of an electron depends on the frequency, not the intensity, issue number 1 can be resolved. Issue number 2 can also be resolved. What about conclusion number 3 and number 4? That can't exactly be directly be answered with E equals hf. So what Einstein proposed was that just as another refresher, if we draw a graph of kinetic energy of electrons and frequency, we would see something like this: a straight line from the threshold frequency, and below the threshold frequency, kinetic energy is 0. What Einstein did was he just sort of extrapolated this line. And this energy was called the work function. Well, specifically, the absolute value of the y-intercept was called the work function. And the work function is defined as the minimum energy required to remove an electron from a photosurface, which is the energy required to allow the electron to overcome the electrostatic forces of attraction between itself and the positively charged metal ions. And this work function was calculated. The work function is denoted by the symbol, was calculated by Planck's constant times the threshold frequency, because the work function is practically energy, and therefore we can just sort of modify this equation to suit our needs. And this answered our third absurdity. Below a certain minimum frequency, no electron was ejected. This was because the energy of light was below that of the work function. So there wasn't enough energy in the light to overcome the work function. And what about the fourth point? How was this resolved? So Einstein, this is a very important phrase that you will need to memorize to score the maximum marks. But Einstein concluded that since light is made out of particles, discrete quanta of energy called photons, these photons, like balls of energy, particle balls of energy, they had photons and electrons have one-to-one interactions. So an electron can't just sit around, accumulate energy from multiple photons. When a photon and an electron collide, it's either the electron is ejected or the electron is not ejected. And this is why there's no time delay. Because of the one-to-one interaction, a time delay simply isn't an option. Like the electron just staying there, accumulating, absorbing energy for long periods of time, that just isn't possible with this notion of a one-to-one interaction. And that's basically it. Thank you.